Chapter 1, Section 3, The First Empires. The Assyrians. Main idea. Assyria's military power and well-organized government helped it build a vast empire in Mesopotamia by 650 BC. About 1,000 years after Hammurabi, a new empire arose in Mesopotamia. It was founded by a people called the Assyrians, who lived in the north near the Tigris River. Assyria had fertile valleys that attracted outside invaders. To defend their land, the Assyrians built a large army. Around 900 BC, they began taking over the rest of Mesopotamia. Why were the Assyrians so strong? The Assyrian army was well organized. At its core were groups of foot soldiers armed with spears and daggers. Other soldiers were experts at using bows and arrows. The army also had chariot riders and soldiers who fought on horseback. This fearsome and mighty force was the first army to use iron weapons. For centuries, iron had been used for tools, but it was too soft to serve as a material for weapons. Then a people called the Hittites, who lived northwest of Assyria, developed a way of making iron stronger. They heated iron ore, hammered it, and rapidly cooled it. The Assyrians learned this technique from the Hittites. They produced iron weapons that were stronger than those made of copper or tin. The Assyrians were ferocious warriors. To attack cities, they tunneled under walls or climbed over them on ladders. They loaded tree trunks onto movable platforms and used them as battering rams to knock down city gates. Once a city was captured, the Assyrians set fire to its buildings. They also carried away its people and goods. Anyone who resisted Assyrian rule was punished. The Assyrians drove people from their lands and moved them into foreign territory. Then they brought in new settlers and forced them to pay heavy taxes. A well-organized government. Assyrian kings had to be strong to rule their large empire. By about 650 BC, the empire stretched from the Persian Gulf in the east to Egypt's Nile River in the west. The capital was Nineveh on the Tigris River. Assyrian kings had to be strong to rule their large empire. By about 650 BC, the empire stretched from the Persian Gulf in the east to Egypt's Nile River in the west. The capital was Nineveh on the Tigris River. Assyrian kings divided the empire into provinces or political districts. They chose officials to govern each province. These officials collected taxes and enforced the king's laws. Assyrian kings built roads to join all parts of their empire. Government soldiers were posted at stations along the way to protect traders from bandits. Messengers on government business used the stations to rest and change horses. Life in Assyria. The Assyrians lived much like other Mesopotamians. Their writing was based on Babylonian writing, and they worshipped many of the same gods. Their laws were similar, but lawbreakers often faced more brutal and cruel punishments in Assyria. As builders, the Assyrians showed great skill. They erected large temples and palaces that they filled with wall carvings and statues. The Assyrians also produced and collected literature. One of the world's first libraries was in Nineveh. It held 25,000 tablets of stories and songs to the gods. Modern historians have learned much about ancient civilizations from this library. Assyria's cruel treatment of people led to many rebellions. About 650 BC, the Assyrians began fighting each other over who would be their next king. A group of people called the Chaldeans seized the opportunity to rebel. They captured Nineveh in 612 BC, and the Assyrian Empire soon crumbled. Reading check. Why were the Assyrian soldiers considered brutal and cruel?